Hi guys, Lou Ladwig here with another episode of Fix That Regulator. So, yeah, just wanted to kick on to the next step. The last time we talked about inside the regulator, there's three segments. The bring my little board up here. You have the voltage regulator, the current regulator, and the cutoff. So last time we talked about checking the voltage regulator, and when the generator's kicked in and it's running and recharging the battery, it should be kicking roughly 7.3 depending on temperature and RPM and that sort of thing. And the next thing is the current regulator. So the generator will put out up to 40 amps on this old GPW. It's a 40 amp Jenny, or it needs to be controlled to 40, I should say, to keep from burning it up. So we can study that. And then we have the cutoff circuit. So when you're down at an idle, and you turn on all the lights and that sort of thing, the battery is pretty much handling the show because the generator doesn't put out much at an idle. When you kick it up to where it cuts in, this is another electromagnet, and its spring tension keeps it cut out until there's enough current being produced by the generator that it changes the load on that electromagnet, kicks this in, and then all of a sudden the generator is joining the system, and at about 1200 RPM, give or take, it'll start cranking out juice and charging the system. And again, that maxes out at 40 amps thanks to that guy. So let's take a quick look. So without the use of a VOM, volt ohm meter, or an electronic measuring device for automotive. One easy way to check is if you've got a reasonably charged battery and you think everything is generally working right, you can jump in the Jeep, start it up. That's going to draw a bunch of current out of the battery, draw it down, and then when you fire the Jeep up, then it should start recharging the battery. If your Jeep is idling initially to begin with, the cutout circuit is going to prevent it from recharging the battery at a good clip. So if you rev it up a little bit, you should see the ammeter go to the right, and gradually, as you hold it there at RPM, the ammeter will drift back down as it recharges the battery for what juice you drew out of it. So it's a real simple, easy test. Let's give that a go. Okay, ignition's on. Give her a shot. Fire her up. Okay, she's idling, and she's just a little over zero. Rev it up. Back down to zero. Okay, let's try that experiment again. And this time, to demonstrate a little bit more, I'm going to leave the ignition off, run the starter. Okay, so that used a bunch of juice. Let's try this again. Okay, back at an idle. She's still trying to charge a little bit. But since we used a lot of juice and we rev it up, now she's going to be cranking. She should slowly drift back down. Recharging the battery there. Back down to 0. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to turn the headlights on. Little jump of the deal. Right now, the generator's handling the load of the headlights. Shut them off. Little jump of the needle. Okay, I'm going to leave it at an idle. Let's turn the headlights on again. Little jump of the needle. Okay. That's about the way it should work. Okay, so like I said last time, for a 6-volt battery, when the generator's kicking out and charging the battery, it should be running at about 7.3, could be 7.2 up to 7.4, maybe even 7.6, depending on temperature and RPM. But so that's what's recharging the battery. Now some of you guys have 8-volt batteries as a band-aid for not having the rest of your electrical circuit up to snuff. So if you have all your cables sized properly, all your grounds in place, and the electrical contact that those cables are making are all proper, clean, good, then at 7.3 will work. But if you have an 8-volt battery and you're trying to play with that system, then you need to adjust the voltage regulator circuit. This one, that's the first terminal. You can adjust that so you're up in the low 9s for recharging that. Yeah, so you could see the cutout circuit kicking in when the battery had been slightly drained, and then we step on the gas, it kicks in and it starts recharging the battery. So that's a real simple test to see if your voltage regulator is working the way it's supposed to work. So I think that's pretty cool, pretty simple test. You can do that in the field. Yeah, that shows you if your electrical system's working. If you're wondering if the battery is shot with the Jeep running, just disconnect the positive terminal and she should run purely off the generator. Because it doesn't take a lot of juice to make the spark to run the motor. So that's a simple little field test you can do. Okay, so that's about enough electrical for one night. I don't think any of you guys are wanting to become a double E major in Lou Ladwidge University here, so we'll end that. I wanted to give a little shout out to the guys on the internet. Sounds like we had a guy from Jalopnik's doing a ride out to Moab in his Jeep, and I saw through the internet the chatter, and guy shouted out to me, and I shouted out to my buddy Eric, who is in the bay right next to me. He put out a new cylinder head for him. Turned out it wasn't cylinder head, it was a cracked timing gear. It's a civilian engine, so it has the fiber timing gear, and that had cracked and allowed it to slip on the center hub and mess up his valve timing, and so he lost all compression. But I just thought it was really cool the way the whole Jeep community came together and helped that guy out. That's what the IFFC is all about, helping each other out so we can go out, have a good time. The other thing is, I wanted to shout out, patrols are popping up all over, and they're gelling together. Guys are buying the t-shirts, the hats, the jackets. That's all nonprofit. Nobody makes a dime off of that stuff except the manufacturer, and those are all real good guys. They're all Jeep guys. Show you the jacket here. So there's the back patch, and then there's my name and my little self-appointed president badge, and then the chest patch. So this is a reproduction World War II tanker jacket from at the front, and it's actually this particular model's not 100% correct because it's fleece lined instead of wool, so it's a little more comfortable to wear. It's very warm, and the reason why I said we ought to use these is because guys driving vehicles in the field in World War II liked these because they were pretty darn warm, sealed cuff. The collar goes up, has a tight collar, that sort of thing. So very comfortable, and I think pretty darn stylish. So yeah, so gel with a patrol in your area. If there isn't one, form one. Be the president. Doesn't take any work at all. You're just like the most popular guy because everybody will be calling you and saying, hey, we're going to go do a trail ride, and that way you're guaranteed to be on it. So you don't have to go on everything. You just are kind of the point man, pointing everybody in the right direction to make the fun happen. So that's about it. Lou Ladwig with the IFFC signing out. You have a good evening.